Hi, my name is Kyle Jensen, and I'm the Shana and Eric Bass 05 Director of Entrepreneurial Programs here at the Yale School of Management. I'm very pleased today to be joined by Brendan Kennedy, who is the founder of Privateer Holdings and a Yale SOM alum. Brendan, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me, Kyle.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. So Privateer, as I understand it, invests in cannabis-related businesses. So obviously a controversial area. What does that mean exactly?
So Privateer Holdings is a private equity firm that's a holding company. So we invest in companies, we incubate companies, and we acquire companies in the cannabis and medical cannabis industry.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And all kinds of companies, or particular?
All kinds of companies.
Mm-hmm.
In the United States, we don't invest in
Mm-hmm.
any companies that touch the product. So
Mm-hmm.
it's important for us to not violate any local, state, or federal laws.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. You're an alum of the school, right? I mean, you haven't been. What year did you graduate?
So I actually I graduated in 2005. So I know Eric Bass. He was in my class.
Oh, yes. Well, okay. Yeah, that's right. I think you mentioned that to me.
I did.
But you didn't get into the cannabis industry right away, I assume.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I was recruited by Silicon Valley Bank to start a new subsidiary. So they have 28 offices around the country and around the world, wherever there are lots of technology companies and venture capital-backed companies.
Mm-hmm.
So I was recruited to start a new company. I guess we were the fifth subsidiary of the public company. I was the third employee. I became the COO, and we grew it to about 50 employees in the U.S. and about 75 in India,
Mm-hmm.
and grew the client base from 0 to 3,000, either venture capital-backed companies or venture capital firms themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And so this gave me an opportunity to see lots of venture capital-backed companies in lots of different industries. So
Mm-hmm.
I had 4 electric car companies,
Mm-hmm.
Tesla being one of them. I
Mm-hmm.
had a dozen daily coupon companies, Living Social and Groupon being in that category. And so I sort of had a thesis on, maybe 40 or 50 different industries. And one day in the spring of 2010, a potential client came to us from the medical cannabis space in California. And I thought, what is that exactly? And sort of put it aside for a couple of days, and then heard a radio show, an NPR debate on California Prop 19,
Mm-hmm.
which was the legalization measure that was on the ballot about 6 months later, and thought, this is something that I'm going to look into. Actually called a classmate of mine from Yale from 2005, Michael Blue, and said, he was working for a private equity firm at the time, and said, I think I need you to quit your job and come start a venture capital firm in the cannabis space with me. Certainly a call he wasn't expecting.
No, I would imagine he was not expecting that. So the two of you started the company, and this is what year did you say?
So this was 2010. We started
Okay.
it with a third partner that was from Silicon Valley Bank from San Francisco. I had known him for about 25 years.
And when you start a new a new private equity fund, you got to go out and you raise money. You're looking for LPs, and you tell them with a straight face you're investing in cannabis, and I mean, that must be unusual, right? That's an unusual pitch.
It was an unusual pitch, and really, we did a lot of research first. That was really the first phase. Unlike technology or electric cars, there was no data, and so there was no Gartner report on the cannabis industry in 2010.
No, right.
And so,
which could mean it's a world of opportunity, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
It was an empty space. It was a hole in the marketplace, which is what I was looking for, right? And that was the benefit of my job in venture capital. Is I saw lots of different opportunities, lots of different industries, and I was looking for holes. And so I describe it as old-fashioned research, sort of boots on the ground research, and we did it for about 9 months. We went around the United States to every medical cannabis state and some that were not. We went around the world to places like Canada and Israel and Spain and the Netherlands, meeting with cannabis growers and dispensary owners and patients and physicians and pharmacists and lawyers and activists and political campaigners, trying to understand the industry. And after 9 months, we believed in the opportunity, and that's when we all quit our jobs and started Privateer Holdings.
Wow, awesome. So it seems to me, it seems very plausible, right, that you have timed this very well to me in terms of all the regulatory changes that are ongoing. So it seems to have very big, let's say, financial implications for your investors. The market opportunity seems very good, but it also seems to have a variety of social implications, right? What are so talk to me about the kinds of the companies that you're investing in. What are the social ramifications?
Sure. So, our investors come from around the world.
Mm-hmm.
They come from the far left and the far right. They are mostly looking for a financial return, or I should say most of them are looking for a financial return, but they're all looking for a social return that's measured by ending the harms caused by prohibition. Now, they would define those harms in a variety of different ways. They would describe them as wanting to end violence in Mexico and Central and South American countries. They would describe it as wanting to ensure that patients have access to this medicine around the United States and around the world. They might say that they are looking to end sort of mass incarceration of Hispanic and African Americans who are arrested at much higher rates than Caucasian Americans. So there's a variety of reasons. Some of them are purely political. They believe in small federal government, and they think this is a states' rights issue. So if you put our investors in a room, this is the only issue that they would agree on. And that's fascinating, because that tells me that it's a mainstream issue, and it has mainstream support. About 88% of Americans believe that medical cannabis should be legal, and about 58% believe that it should be legal for retail consumption.
And in how many states is medical marijuana legal now? And then it's legal recreationally in at least 2 states now, is that right?
That's exactly right. So it's legal in 23 states and D.C. for medical purposes, and then legal in Washington and Colorado for retail consumption, adult consumption. And it's on the ballot this year. It's on the ballot in Oregon, Alaska for retail, and then also Florida for medical. And it's likely to pass in 2 out of 3.
Interesting. So what kinds of businesses have you invested in, and what I'm sure you've invested in a number of businesses, but what are the ones that are most interesting, the ones that you're most proud of?
The first investment we made was in a company called Leafly, which is an online source of cannabis information to patients and consumers worldwide. And we bought it. It had 3 engineers in Orange County, 0 revenues, and about 100,000 visits to the site each month. We built out a team, about 30 people now. We built out an app, and last month Leafly had about 4 million visits to the site and to the app.
Really? Wow.
And
that's
we took revenue from 0 to about $1 million a month at the end of this year.
Really? What's the revenue model?
So the revenue comes from dispensaries and retailers who sell this product or sell this medicine, and then it also comes from individual brands of products, either direct cannabis brands or consumption devices or accessories. We have traffic. About 80% of our traffic is from the U.S., about 20% is international.
Is this the venture for which I saw a full-time ad in the New York Times?
That's exactly right, yeah. So it's a mainstream company, it's a mainstream brand, and that's really important.
The ad was a woman running down, surrounded by brownstones or something.
That's
like
exactly
this, right? Is that right?
A woman running, the streets of New York, and it describes how she uses medical cannabis. And it's, we're looking to build brands that elevate the conversation. So brands that don't embrace the ubiquitous cliches that you see around cannabis, because fundamentally we believe, and our investors believe, that this is it's a mainstream product consumed by mainstream Americans and by mainstream consumers around the world who want brands that speak to them without insulting them.
Talk to me about the regulatory risks. So particularly around, for example, FDA studies and medical marijuana and how do you think about? There must be great risk in your business. How do you think about it?
You know, we think about regulatory risk and not product risk. This is a product that has been consumed by humans for 5,000 years. No one has ever died from overconsumption. You cannot, unlike alcohol, unlike tobacco, unlike prescription pharmaceuticals, you can't kill yourself with this product. Roughly 300,000 Americans died from prescription pharmaceuticals last year. 0 from cannabis consumption. And so we don't worry about the product, we worry about regulatory risk. You know, one of our other companies is a company called Tilray, which has one of 13 medical cannabis licenses in Canada. So we're one of 13 providers where we produce, process, package, and ship medical cannabis directly to patients at their residence. And it's a very tight regulatory system. You know, we have a federal license, which is really different from the United States, where you have this conflict between state and federal law. In Canada, we love the regulatory system. It's very tightly regulated, and that's an opportunity for us. You know, we like that it's difficult. We like that it's hard, because we're good at
button down.
That's exactly right. We're good at complexity.
Interesting. So I think a lot of us who live in states that, I think medical marijuana is legal in Connecticut. Is that
it is?
It is.
Okay. 6 dispensaries, 6 Connecticut licensed dispensaries are opening.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think the first one opened maybe a month ago, something like that.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, I would imagine outside of Washington and Colorado, probably people don't see as much innovation in the space, or which as you said, when you said brands, you said, for example, some of the revenue coming through Leafly was through brands, but honestly, it's news to me that there are brands around cannabis. I imagine there's a great deal of innovation in the marketplace, and I'm curious what has struck you most in recent years, and kind of the greatest innovations.
Oh, you know, probably the ones that come to mind are the consumption devices, where a lot of doctors were hesitant to recommend this product because they were worried about their patients inhaling smoke. And so, just like with e-cigarettes, we've seen the emergence of lots of vaporization products to vaporize cannabis into essentially airborne water molecules that the patient inhales. And it's just as effective in terms of delivery without delivering smoke into the lungs. And so that's an area that really didn't exist 10, 15 years ago. And it's giving a lot of credibility to this industry and to this product in the medical world.
Excellent. So you started Privateer Holdings 2011, you said?
We started it in 2011. We started working on it in the spring of 2010.
And the two of you,
yes,
both Yale SOM alums.
Yes.
And how large is the company now?
So currently, we have about 150 employees at Privateer Holdings, Leafly, and Tilray.
Okay, great. And what was the last one you said?
Tilray, which is the Canadian manufacturer.
I see. Okay, excellent. Wow, that's some serious growth.
It's been amazing. You know, and it's been a challenge, but also it's been really fun building teams that are doing something that really has never been done before.
Sure. Well, as I said before our interview, I think it's wonderful in the sense that it's entrepreneurship, it's finance, it's in a new expanding market. It's controversial, it's interesting. I really think it's fantastic, and I really appreciate you joining us here today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Brendan, thank you.